Caitlin and welcome to the Lit Review. Today it is May's LitLand video. Although we're not really going to be using the board, I just wanted to show it one last time for old time's sake. So this is my TBR game, or it has been my TBR game for the last year. And basically what I'm doing is I'm updating the LitLand board, and I ordered it, I made it and ordered it, but it hasn't come in yet. So rather than start a new game on this old board, we're gonna do a LitLand lightning round where I pull the same cards that I've been using and follow the same rules, but there won't be any board visuals this time around. So love and care to this original LitLand board. All of that to say that in June there will be a new LitLand board. The same general rules will apply, but I've added some new features, and it will still be strongly inspired by Candyland, but it'll look a little bit different, a little bit more unique. I will keep this original board just in case I decide to bring it back or use it for, you know, some other purpose, but it's also just always going to be kind of special to me because this is where we started from. But today what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the right number of cards, 5 cards, but I'm not going to move across a board because it would feel really weird to start a game on the old board and then have a new board and try to make that work. So it's still going to be a version of LitLand, just not as fancy, but bear with me. I'm very excited to share with you the new board, the new cards, the new pitfalls that I've built into LitLand. So next month you'll be getting a whole new board tour as well as a LitLand video. I'm very excited about it. But let's actually get into me choosing my TBR. And before I can do that, I need to check in with you about what the heck all I was supposed to read last month. So last month I had 5 books from LitLand proper and 2 rollover books. I'm gonna have to take a punishment this month because I did not finish The Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Basically that book was a library book. It got called in before I could get through the book, and because of Larry McMurtry's passing, the ebook and the audiobook for that through my library are also severely backlogged, so I just physically couldn't get to it. Technically I could have just swapped in another historical, but I didn't get to that either. So I'm just going to take a punishment. I do still need to read Lonesome Dove at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, but it's not happening now. So I'm just going to take my lumps and do what needs done, which is actually kind of ideal because if I take a punishment now, it's not like it's affecting my board movement. So that's fine. Did finish The Duke Heist and the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. So those 2 are good. I also finished Pleasures of a Dark Prince by Kresley Cole, so check. I am like 3/4 of the way through with Ghostland by Colin Dickey in ebook form, so I'm confident I can finish that before the end of the month. I am filming this on the 24th, so I have plenty of time left in my April to get through Ghostland, and I also I'm just a sliver of the way into Restless Slumber by KJ Sutton, but again, because I have so much time left before the end of the month, I'm gonna count this as done because I know I'm gonna finish it. I'm hooked already. So we're gonna see how I actually feel about this with my wrap up, but it's getting finished before April, so we're good here. The only one I'm not confident about getting to is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. So this is gonna roll over into next month, into May. And if I don't finish this in May, then I will have to take a punishment. I'm pretty confident I can get to it in May because I'm really excited about this book, but we'll see what May brings. Before I get much further, I just want to give some quick shout outs for the people who I think really innovated in this whole TBR genre. The whole reason I have a TBR game that means so much to me, and the whole reason I have met so many of you through this, is because of people like Becca from Becca and the Books with her Becca's Bookopoly, and Cody from Cody's Book Corner with her Wheel of TBR. Now there are a ton more folks that have made this genre super popular, and so many people doing their own twists and spins every month, and I love it. I'm always here for it. I just always want to give those 2 ladies a shout out because they're who I started watching first when I was crafting this whole thing. So kudos to them as always. The theme for May's Buzzwordathon is house or home. So like the past several months, I will be showing you some options at the end of this video, and you can vote which of those gets chosen for my Buzzwordathon. I will also be participating in my own book club, which is the Book Covered Book Club. It's like part book club, part readathon. The theme for May is an illustrated cover. So if I can sneak that into my polls for this month, I definitely will, but no pressure because I will be doing that regardless. If I can manage, I'm also going to try to participate in Buzzwordathon, which is hosted by Esme from Bookish Buddies. So I will link their channel down below. It's a duo channel. She and Femke have a little like friend channel, and it's lovely. So just check her out and check them out to begin with. But Buzzwordathon is in May. I'm going to try to do that. I'm not going to be picking any books deliberately because it's one of those TBR games that like progresses across a board. So I'm just going to be playing along with that throughout May. So I do have to take a punishment. And here are all the homemade punishment cards that we didn't use in this last round. So I'm just going to give them a quick little terrible shuffle. And the punishment cards, by the way, and the challenge squares are sticking around in the new version of LitLand. They're just getting a little bit more of a visual upgrade. I am now also officially on a book buying ban until I can beat LitLand. So this month is just kind of limbo because I can't do anything. Maybe I'll allow myself to buy like 1 or 2 in limbo, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try to stick to it. Anyway, enough of that. So now that I've completed enough terrible shuffling, you can kind of see I'm pointing the words at you. But from the top here. Oh, okay. Read a book from an author whose other work you didn't like. We have options. There's a lot of different ways I could go with this, but the one that stood out to me is an author that I have had kind of a love-hate relationship with, where I've really liked one of their books and have deeply not liked another of their books. And it kind of just constantly goes in that back and forth. So I think that's a little bit more interesting for this pick. And that author is Joanna Lindsey. And the book in question that I will be reading is The Heir. This is a historical romance, and our main character is Sabrina, a young country ingenue who's being toured around in her season by kind of the most popular or most sought after woman in London. But it just so happens that that woman's fiance is Duncan, who is a new Marquess who is, you know, with said woman because money. But what obviously ends up happening is that Duncan and Sabrina feel something for one another, and Sabrina kind of seems like she has some secret in her past that may be keeping them from true love. But we'll see. I love those kind of stories. I really do. The whole conflict between like honor and duty versus true love somehow just like really works for me. So I'm hoping that this will actually be a success. But because I've had such intense feelings about some of other works by Joanna Lindsey, I'm not sure. So we're gonna see how this goes, because A Pirate's Love by Joanna Lindsey was one of my least favorite romance novels of all time. So we're gonna roll the dice with this. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. So this is the deck that was left over from our last run. So this is not reshuffling any of the stuff that we went through from like September to April. So I'm just gonna shuffle these for the lightning round of it all. Again, not a super expert shuffle, but you know, giving it some variety, some spice. Again, these cards will be coming back in some version. I've kept like the general premise of colors and genres and being able to move, like having a card move you across the board. So not a lot is changing about LitLand in that way. There's just a lot of board changes. And I specifically am making better quality cards so that I won't have the issue that we had this last round, where I had so many of the little challenge square cards move me so close together. So hopefully that will get better over time. And let's pick our 4 remaining books. All right, and then 1 purple. Purple is my miscellaneous. So we'll have something like a classic, a graphic novel, a mystery. And as always, I like to reference my priority shelf first and foremost. If I can take something off of that, then I will. So let's see what's what. Oh, very nice, very nice. I'm going to go with Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, and this was very kindly gifted to me by Kaylani from Kaylani Simply Me. I will link her channel down below. this was like one of her all-time faves, and she thinks I'm gonna love it. I suspect I will too. What little I know of this is that it is a high school male-male romance, so LGBTQI plus representation in here. So I'm not 100% clear on the plot. I just always hear that it's epic good feels, and I believe volume 4 either comes out this month or maybe next month. So when I inevitably get sucked into this, I'm gonna want to read the rest. I know this is also a webcomic, but you know, whenever possible, I like to do bind-ups of things and support authors. So this is very cool, very exciting, and I'm glad to be able to get this one out. I also really like being able to read things that are gifted or maybe borrowed in a timely manner, because that's like the best part of giving and receiving and doing things like that. So this is perfect. This is also great because it will work for May's book covered book club theme, which is an illustrated cover. And this is very clearly an illustrated cover. So I think this is what I'm going to read for book club this month too. So hey, look at that. I can fit it in. Okay, so for sci-fi and fantasy, ooh, you know what? I have a couple books out from the library, and I think at least one of them is going to work for this. So the pick for my fantasy or sci-fi square is The Black Tides of Heaven by Ji Yang. So this is like a historical inspired fantasy with two twins who are the children of the Protectorate. So in this world, the Protectorate is kind of the government, as far as I can tell from the back cover. And Mokoya and Akia are the two twins. Mokoya has a strange prophetic gift, according to the back, and Akia has always been able to like understand or see like what moves adults to action. So they have these kind of interesting gifts. And this is also, it feels like a very political inspired fantasy, because one of the twins gets really invested in the rebellion and the other one is really invested in maintaining the protectorate that they grew up in. So it's like about their connection and their differences of opinion and uses of their gifts. So it feels like potentially very family oriented while being in this really unique fantasy space. So I've heard good things about this. I don't hear a ton of people talk about it, but when I do hear people on BookTube or on Instagram talk about it, it's usually good. So I'm excited to give this a try. It's also like kind of slim, and the pages, if you can see here, have like huge margins on the top and bottom. So I think this is actually going to go pretty quickly, which is great because I would love to be able to return things to the library in a timely manner. I almost never do. So I'm hoping I can make this happen this month. More miscellaneous. Okay, I know I could do another graphic novel, and that would certainly help with my goals for the year. But I kind of want to try something different, and in looking at my library books just now, I know a book that could fit for this. So that's going to be Sex, Murder, and a Double Latte by Kira Davis. This feels like it's going to be in that cozy mystery genre, because it's got like some thriller things, but also seems like really light and playful. And that's a mood for me right now that I am just, oh, it sounds so good. So our main character, Sophie, is a thriller writer herself, and she's starting to feel a little bit paranoid because she feels like her home is being broken into and like people are rummaging around or like leaving her clues, but she honestly can't tell if that's happening or if she's just being a paranoid thriller writer. But when a friend of hers who's a filmmaker is murdered and there are references to their films connected to the murder, Sophie is even more convinced that somebody is actually trying to do her harm. And along the way, she meets this really handsome guy named Anatoly, but who seems to be interested in protecting her. But the thriller writer in her knows that the person who is seemingly protective is also likely to do harm. So it's a little bit of push-pull there as well, as Sophie tries to convince the police that she's actually in danger. This sounds like so much fun, and like with a little bit of the thriller stuff tucked in. I'm really looking forward to this. Oh, and then the last poll is also an orange. So more fantasy or sci-fi? Ooh, okay. So again, when I borrow things or when things are gifted to me, I think that's like the unofficial theme of this whole video. I try to prioritize them because otherwise when you borrow things and don't give them back, you're just keeping them or stealing them, and that's not what I'm out here to try to do. So Christina, who is not only a friend, a family member, and a subscriber, has loaned me some books, and I would like to get them back to her in a timely manner. So one of those books is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. And I really want to read this for a couple of reasons. Not just because Christina was sweet enough to let me borrow this, so thank you, Christina, but also because a lot of y'all read this for the Book Covered Book Club last month when the theme was airplanes. And there were some mixed results going on in the Discord or on Instagram. So I know this is super popular. Christina really enjoyed it. But some of y'all in the Discord were like, it's not my cup of tea. And so this seems like a really hyped, popular book with some potentially really polarizing opinions. And I want to have my own opinion about it. So I'm really excited to form that opinion. What I know about this book from the dust jacket is that this Midnight Library is actually some form of afterlife. So when you die, you go to the Midnight Library and there's a bunch of kind of portal fantasy, it seems like, or like books full of what ifs. And you can read through and try to, like, in a way create the perfect life that had, like, if nothing had gone wrong. And so our main character, Nora, is exploring the Midnight Library and her what ifs and her afterlife, and starts to try to craft that ideal space, but comes to realize at some point that her choices are potentially harming her and or the library itself. So again, that's probably an imperfect description since I obviously haven't read it yet, but that's what the dust jacket is kind of giving me. And I'm excited to see what actually happens here. We'll see. It's a New York Times bestseller, so that's kind of cool. I don't often read bestsellers in the same time that they're popular. So we'll give this a go. And thank you again to Christina for letting me borrow this book. I hope to actually get it back to you soon. So these are the 6 books I need to read in May or else. The top 5 are all of my LitLand picks, including this book up top, which is my Punishment Square pick. And then The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh is my rollover from April. So I think this is actually kind of doable. This list looks doable, unless May just comes for me. You never know. But now I can kind of switch gears and talk to you about Buzzwordathon. So we've been doing this together every month since the beginning of the year, where I give you 3 potential picks based on the Buzzwordathon prompt, and you help me pick which one I get to. And it's been a really fun process for me so far, so thank you to all of you who have commented. And that's what we're here to do today. I'm gonna give you 3 choices with a 5-word synopsis for each of them, mostly just so I don't prattle on and can keep it kind of quick towards the end of this video. So May's theme was house or home, so one of those words had to be somewhere in the title. And this was weirdly difficult, this was weirdly tricky. I don't think I own that many books with house or home in them, and I only found 3 in my existing collection. I'm probably missing something. Of course, there's always the potential that I could just reread House of Earth and Blood, because why not? But I tried to stick to books I haven't read. I may still reread Sarah J. Maas if I'm feeling feisty. But I digress. Let's get to the actual books I'm potentially trying to read this month. So the first book is one that has definitely appeared in a couple of TBR videos, and I still haven't gotten to it. But that's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. My word synopsis is actually pretty easy for this one. Secret Paranormal Societies at Harvard. What more can I say? All right, option 2, House of M. Who wrote this thing? Because I don't have... So Brian Michael Bendis is the primary writer for this bind-up. There's a lot of other creative types involved, but for right now I'll just focus on the writer. Alternate universe, Magneto's in charge. Kind of fudging it a little bit with the wording, but it's accurate. And speaking of Kaylani, she gifted me another book this past April, and that's The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. So thank you to Kaylani for this gift. Okay, it's not going to sound like a full sentence, but I think we can get there. Romantic comedy in strange orphanage. I think that works. So those are my 3 options. Let me know down in the comments below whether you think I should read Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, House of M by Brian Michael Bendis and Co., or The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I have a feeling I know how this vote's gonna go, but I gotta ask. You never know. You could totally surprise me. But I'm very excited about all three of those options, so I think there's, again, not a bad one in the bunch. I'm sorry there wasn't any board game progress this month, but I really am so excited to show you the new board that should be coming like next week. I debated long and hard about trying to wait to film this until it came in, but I'm just not sure if it's gonna make it in time. So I'm filming this ahead of time so that we can keep on keeping on. Very excited to show you the new board though in June. So I hope this was still fun for you. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for spending time with me. I hope you have a fantastic reading day. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me or this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.